Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome to Zone Out. My name is Jaquil, and I am a Atlanta-based flight attendant for a major U.S. airline. If it's your first time here, thank you so much for popping in. And if you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much again for your support. Today, we're going to be going over the steps and requirements to apply to be a flight attendant. I've been asked this question a whole lot since I first started my job with my carrier, and I definitely want to be able to give some tips and some tricks in order to apply. So stay tuned. Okay, so I took some notes just to help me keep track. So if you ever see me looking down, I'm probably going to be referring back to my little notepad on to the side. Becoming a flight attendant is no easy task. It can take anywhere from 6 months to a year. And if you're in it, you got to be in it to win it. The first step that you're going to want to do is you want to make sure that you do your research. Within the US, there's going to be 2 different kinds of airlines that you can apply to. That's going to be either mainline or regional. For your mainline, you guys already know those are going to be your heavy hitters or your legacy carriers. You're going to have things like Delta, United, and American. For your regional carriers, you're going to have airlines like Endeavor Air, GoJet, and SkyWest. Regional carriers sound exactly like what they are. You're flying only within a specific region. You're going to be flying on a smaller aircraft. And sometimes you're going to be the only flight attendant on board. So if that sounds like something that you're interested in, I definitely say start looking and doing your research for the smaller airlines. They definitely need as much help as they can get, just like the legacy carriers do. For your main lines, you're going to be flying both domestic and international routes. So if flying to places like Europe, Japan, and Africa sound like up in your alley, definitely make sure that you do your research into the legacy carriers as well. A lot of times people don't understand that it takes a lot of steps and you got to do a lot of soul searching when you first start applying. That means that you got to take a look into different kind of places that you want to go. Me, when I growing up, I didn't really travel a lot with my family, so I knew that I wanted to be able to explore the world and then be able to meet a variety of different kinds of people. When it comes to working for any kind of airline, you got to make sure that you are flexible. Flexibility is something that you learn is almost native to the job. The second thing that you really want to focus on, a lot of people automatically think that you need to focus on your resume. For me, it is important, but not as important as making sure that whatever airline that you're looking into aligns with your values. So that means that going online to their websites, whether that's delta.com, united.com, or spirit.com, and then taking a look at the about section for your airline. A lot of times you can see different messages from higher ups in the company, whether it's the VP, the president, or the CEO, and that also give you a little link into the history as well. Definitely want to make sure that the company's values align with yours. You can apply to every airline on the board, but if their values do not align with yours, then there's no way that it's going to be a perfect fit. You definitely want to make sure that your values and the other airline's values mesh together, so that way it can create something harmonious. The third thing that you want to do is make sure that you get that resume up. A lot of airlines are going to be hiring for the summer 2022 season. And that means that you want to make sure that if you have customer service experience, you put that on there. A lot of airlines nowadays don't necessarily require a college degree. Basic requirements that you can have are going to be either a high school diploma or the GED equivalent. A lot of times, if you do have a college degree, it can do nothing but help you. Having more education only makes you a more viable candidate in the long run. Another skill set that you can add into the pie is if you speak any kind of foreign languages. For a lot of US-based carriers, you need to be fluent in English. A lot of times, if you speak any kind of language, specifically for LOD, or language of destination, definitely if the airline flies into those areas, it makes you more viable and it makes you more wanted. For instance, if you speak Korean or German, of course Spanish as well, Italian and Russian, those can definitely make you the cream of the crop when it comes to the application process, because for a lot of destinations that a lot of airlines fly, we need flight attendants to be able to work on those flights. Part of your application process is whenever you're applying to work for the airlines, you gotta understand that you're working to apply within the transportation industry. That means that we do in fact have background checks. A lot of companies are gonna check for both your criminal and your drug background. So definitely want to make sure that you don't have anything on there that can pop up. And of course, if you partake, definitely want to make sure that you cut that out, especially if this is a career that you want to see yourself going forward in. So you finally made it. You already figured out what kind of company that you want to work for, and you made sure that the company's values align with your own morals and standards. Your resume is tip-top shape. Next thing you're gonna do is fill out that initial application. Below, I'm actually going to be placing a link to several airlines that are currently hiring for the 2022 season. So please make sure that you take a look at all of those as well. And of course, I cannot stress enough making sure that you look up Glassdoor. It was an amazing resource that I used when I was first applying to work for my airline in 2019. I took a look at both the customer feedback and the employee feedback as well, just so that way I can gain more knowledge. It's making sure that this is a career that I wanted to take a step into. So once you're finally done with all of those steps, the next thing you're gonna do is you're gonna go to your company's specific website, or if they have a job site as well, check that out. But the first thing you wanna do is fill out that initial application. A lot of people automatically assume that you filling out the initial application questionnaire isn't a part of the application process, but it is. Trust and believe. Those yes or no questions can definitely kick a lot of people out. So you definitely want to make sure that you're answering openly and honestly. Specifically for mainline airlines, you definitely want to make sure that whether or not you are open to flying both domestically and internationally. We already know how COVID-19 definitely turned the world upside down. So for a lot of airlines, it is required that you are fully vaccinated at the time of you accepting your conditional job offer or your CJO. Sometimes companies may offer both a medical waiver and or a religious waiver, but again, that's all up to the hiring team. So if you fall into the category you feel as though you may need one, then definitely be sure to hit up the company during the application process. After your initial application, you're gonna go into the assessment. Sometimes they can take a few days to get, and so make sure that you check your emails. Your initial assessment, definitely a way for the company to tell whether or not you have some of the skill sets and qualifications outlined in your resume. So a lot of times you may see it, and you can always practice online. You're gonna have words such as strongly agree and strongly disagree. So definitely make sure that you take a look and you answer open and honestly. And a lot of people, the next step is gonna be the most fun. That gives you the chance to actually show a lot of your personality. That's going to be the video interview. A lot of times that can either be like a Skype or a FaceTime call if you're familiar with that. So that means as though it's gonna be you one-on-one, and sometimes with a group as well, of you talking to actual flight attendants. And don't let the uniforms fool you. Definitely wanna make sure that you are who you say you are. So definitely just, bring your A game to the table, be the best version of yourself. Don't try to put on airs, don't try to be anything that you're not. Just be true to you. Definitely for that interview, wanna make sure, especially if you're a guy, you wanna make sure that you wear something business, casual or higher. Especially for like professional business attire. Today, for instance, I'm wearing a polo. You might want to put on like a long sleeve or tie with this, and sometimes a blazer can really help. I would definitely say try to stick to neutral colors like your blacks, your grays, and your navies. For the ladies out there, I know as much as sometimes you might want to, look the part as a flight attendant, sometimes it's always good, again, just to stay neutral. That means that you can wear like a nice dress, a skirt, or a blouse, if you so choose to, even a pantsuit, or you can get away with a suit, whatever your motive is. Just make sure it's something that you are very comfortable in. Drum roll. I know you guys are super excited about that. The next step for a lot of US-based airlines is going to be the face-to-face. I can't stress that enough. The face-to-face is such a fun day. A lot of people think it's the most nervous day. Personally, I had a blast at my face-to-face. I met some of the most incredible people at my face-to-face, and I'm currently working with them right now. So it's truly a blessing to be able to even get invited. So definitely make sure that you bring your A game to the face-to-face. Again, neutral colors, making sure that that you're well groomed. If you got a big beard, guys, making sure that that's well taken care of. Making sure that your hair is like a natural color, something that can come out of anybody's head. Smile naturally. Of course, dress to impress, smile naturally. Sometimes a resume may or may not be needed. Within your information packets, you'll definitely be given that information ahead of time. And most importantly, have fun with the day. I can't stress enough that a lot of people automatically assume that, it's gonna be super nerve-wracking and that they got to make sure that they have a cover letter and like 12 copies of their resume and XYZ. And, oh, my friend said that she did this and he wore this to his interview when he got it. And they wore the company's colors and, they were fantastic. Be you. I can't stress it enough. Even while I was going through my training for my job, and even now being on the line, just like stopping people in the airport and they're like, hey, I really want to work for your company. Your company does great work. What's the steps? Be you. Be genuine. If nothing else, your truest self is either gonna come out while you're in training or on the line. And the last thing you need is to not be the best version of yourself. Definitely make sure that you bring your A game to the table, but most importantly, be you. That's gonna outshine everything else. There's no amount of interviews that you can try to sit there and mimic, or interview questions that you can copy down from Glassdoor or other flight attendant channels as well, other than you being yourself. If you made it to the face-to-face, you already got the job. The company just wants to make sure that the person that they have been interviewing all the way through for the last few weeks and months is the same person that came up to show out. Be confident in you. Any company that you apply for is going to be very fortunate to have you. Just make sure that you bring your A game and make sure that you're doing it for all of the right reasons. The last thing that I want to touch on before I conclude this video is just to let you know that the application to be a flight attendant can be a very lengthy process. It's a process that can take anywhere from a few months to a year. When I was doing the application process back in 2019, I filled out my initial application in August, and I had my face-to-face in December. And you know, again, that's not how it works for everybody. So one thing that you got to know is you got to be patient. Patience is key. And I know a lot of times you're feeling like, man, I fill out the initial application and...
Well, we're waiting.
Just know that anything worth having is worth fighting for, and that sometimes means that you just gotta wait. There's always a such thing as perfect timing for everything. When I first got my CJO, like I said, I got my CJO in December. I started training in March of 2020, and for my airline, I actually got sent home due to COVID. I had to wait around 18 months in order to get back, and I graduated last October in 2021, and now I've been on the line for almost 7 months. And it's been one of the most amazing experiences that I've ever had. Definitely make sure that you have a little bit of patience and trust in yourself. Again, if this is something that you really, really want to do, then, go for it and fight for it. Definitely make sure that you do your research. Like I said, make sure that you look at all of the airlines that you can. Make sure that if you are flexible with moving and relocating if you have to, just think about that. This job is a lifestyle change, not just for you, but for your family as well. If you're married, if you got kids, you got to take all that kind of stuff into consideration. More than likely, I'm going to be making this video into a series of how to become a flight attendant, because I feel like there's a lot I can touch on, like everybody wants to know how much you get paid, or, what is commuting? Like, do you commute? Things like that. I definitely want to make sure that I harp on and be able to answer any questions. If you like this video, make sure that you, of course, like and subscribe to my channel. If there's anything that you feel as though I could have touched on, if any other flight attendants see this as well, make sure that you comment for more content that you would like to see. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to my video. And again, my name is Jaquil. This is Zoned Out. Can't wait to see you guys in the future.